Hi, everybody, and welcome back to session 34 of the Order of Narvosc. This is the Stalking Beast. We hope you enjoy.
To start off with, we did some, diving into history when Ruby asked about Erebus. And whenever Velphie thought about Erebus, she got out a Book of the Gods and realized Erebus wasn't in there, but the God of Death was. And that kind of helped show Ruby, or solidify for Ruby, the subject of her dream. But they also realized there were some wonky dates going on. Like the book was published in a certain date. Ruby thought that she came to this place on a certain date, and some of the numbers didn't add up. And then we traveled to the school, and during that travel, Velphie talked to her rapier, who was very rude, but also told the professor about her rapier and the rapier's hold on her. Um, Ruby came across a couple of little ghosts, little lingerers or souls, and one of them kind of stood out as being kind of different. Um, and we also, I guess, like before we left, I should also say Velphie had a conversation with the red tiefling woman. Is that right? Yeah. Which was really touching. And then whenever we got to Esarora, it looked really different from the last time you guys were there. Just really broken and decrepit. And at the center of the school was a crazy, scary creature. And that's where we left off.
Yes, so that was perfect. And Ruby called the rapier a bee's dick. That one stuck with me.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And we start off with you all seeing this beastie in the center of Esarora, and it just looks angry and creepy and anything else you can imagine. It almost looks like it's glowing this bright red with how the alpenglow from the sun is coming off of the mountains and the sun is starting to set. The buildings that Friedrich and Velphie just saw a few days ago have huge gashes in them, and they have collapsed under their own weight of something enormous just ramming into it or destroying it. And the old shell of whoever you all saw in the administrative building the last time you were here is hanging off of the ear of that monstrosity in the center of Esarora. You all
A person?
Mm-hmm.
Like the skin?
The shell.
Ugh.
And like, it's almost like the red hair of the being that this came out of continues up, and that's what links it to this beast, as that hair color of this monstrosity is the same color hair of the elf you all saw when you went into the administrative building after being told not to. And it's just a flab of skin, as there's no contents in that person anymore. Most likely no soul either. The old cafeteria that you all used the last time you were here is no longer standing. That safe place you had found is no longer there. So as you all see all this, what are you doing?
Kind of says a question of clarity.
Yes.
Are you saying we can assume there's no soul after such a transformation?
You don't know. I was kind of going off of the fact that, like, Ruby's doll, whenever a soul is in it, expands. This thing is quite literally just a flat sheet of skin.
Oh, you mean there's no soul in the skin flap thing?
There's nothing in the skin flap thing.
Maybe I'm making a bigger thing of it than it is. I feel like this is the first time someone has said when something transforms, it has no soul. But maybe I misunderstood. I don't know. Just wanted to clarify that.
Who knows? It may or may not. You don't know.
So we see Esarora in shambles, and I think Velphie, she'll stop and turn to the professor. This looks like this beast tore this place up after we left.
Yes, and it hasn't stopped. Is it still moving around? Does it look angry, or is it resting, or?
It just looks like it's pacing. Roll me a perception check. Specifically, Velphie and Professor Friedrich for this one.
Natural 1.
22.
Okay, with a natural 1, it's glowing. Why is it glowing? It should not be glowing, as it just makes this giant screech at you all. Or, not at you, but just towards the sky as its snout raises towards the moon that is starting to come over the mountains as it's getting darker. But with that 22, specifically the buildings you all went into are gone.
Like it followed our sense and tried to tear through it to find us?
Yes.
Okay. So oh gosh. Where did we go?
The Conjuration Building, the Cafeteria, the Abjuration Building, and the Divination Building, as well as parts of the Administrative Building, are collapsing.
Well, okay. So seeing that, then, just kind of absentmindedly, it looks like it was trying to find us. All those buildings that we went into are gone.
No, it would seem that way. I wonder if it knows we're close. Looks like it's waiting.
Well, clearly it knows what we smell like.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. It was a long journey. But that's it, Ruby. That's what we were talking about here.
So the last time that you visited this thing, you did not combat it straight on, or you did, and that's how this little sniffer got your scent?
We did fight it. We
Fight it.
tried. The little thing on its ear, if you can make that out, is what or who it was, and then it grew into what it is.
So it is a transfigured beast, or is it cursed? Oh, are we on a rescue mission of some sort, or is the plan still to take it out if we have to?
I don't know that there's much saving we can do. I don't think there's putting anything back into that skin flap.
Yeah. Transfigure doesn't seem like the right word, maybe. It's almost like it was an elven man, and it's almost like this thing tore its way out of him.
It is very hard to get the insides back where they belong once they're on the outside, so that thing looks formidable. I do not blame the two of you for skittering away for your own safety. I would have done the same.
It's better to live for tomorrow than die today, you know?
I agree. And whatever that thing is was not our objective. Still isn't, technically. So I don't know if there's much avoiding it, but we can try.
Do either of you have any abilities to mask or to cloak one's scent? Because If I were that beastie, I would just keep relying on this same thing. Tracking the way that you feel is your best.
Unfortunately, no, I don't. I can unlock a door.
I also don't have the ability to. I can also unlock a door. You can probably unlock a larger door. But I have ways of maneuvering, but not ways of masking. Do you, Ruby?
Not scent. I can cloud the vision with fog. Or, I suppose, in this space, there's not much fog for it to join, so while it would mask us, it also may give us away, like a smoky target.
Does it appear to be right in the middle of the campus, or is it going from building to building?
Right now, it's just sitting in the center of campus on its haunches and just releases like a loud screech towards the sky every once in a while. But for now, it's just sitting there.
Is there any sign of hope or the other students?
Roll me a perception check.
Thank you for letting me roll that again.
I got you.
21.
With a 21, you don't see any. You don't see hope. You don't see any monstrosities roaming the streets. It's clear. There are no bodies either.
And you said it's sundown?
It's starting to become sundown, yes. And we're going to say at this time, you do hear the clock tower that you all heard the last time you were here start to chime for 7 p.m. But it sounds like it's broken. It's not that pretty bell that you all heard the last time you were here. It sounds like it has been damaged. And since it does go towards the sky, and with that perception check, you do see clumps of fur that have been caught on the outside of it. Like it has just made that beastie angry, and you hear that screech again as it starts trying to attack the clock tower.
Are there any lights on in the chapel?
With that high of a perception check, yes, there's very dim ones.
I'll point this out to everyone who can already see it, but when we were here last, there were creatures that roamed around, as well as a caretaker, and I don't see any of them. And they would congregate in the chapel at 7 p.m. every night and leave, I think, at 7 a.m. the next morning, if I recall correctly. And I see lights on, and I don't see bodies, so maybe they're in there, which means, if anything, we only need to avoid the big one. Silver lining, maybe.
Yeah, I guess we're able to maneuver around the campus without additional hostile creatures, which is nice, but just trying to think of how I could get us to a building, and I can take us to somewhere nearby if we get close enough to the school or to the building that we want to try to check out, but I don't know.
If we only knew which one went underground, that's where we want to be.
My bet is either the administrative building or the temple.
I agree. I don't suppose there's any visual indication on any of them. No, like cellar doors on the outside or.
No.
Well, now that it's out of administration, we could start there.
So we just have to get there.
And the scent is a real issue. I don't know what mask scent.
Well, I just had a very gross thought. I don't even know if I want to say it.
Once you say something like that around inquisitive people, they want to know
I know.
what you were thinking.
Well, excrement.
Horses do have a lot.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't suppose there's any flowers around here. Are there?
Roll me a nature check.
$23.
With a 23, you find some very pretty flowers, but they're dying.
That's what I was afraid of. The dying ones don't smell as good, or at all. Velphie, I don't like your idea, but I think it's the best idea. I just need to make that distinguishment there.
How far away are we from from the cafeteria or the transmutation building?
From the cafeteria, the transmutation building, y'all are probably you're probably at least 500 feet from the cafeteria building.
Okay. So wait, you said cafeteria, conjuration, divination, and was there a fourth one? Evocation? Or abjuration?
Yeah.
Evocation?
Yeah, the cafeteria, the conjuration building, the abjuration building, and the divination building.
Okay.
As well as parts of the administrative building. And would you all roll me another perception check, please?
Yeah. How do I get to be a wizard of this level and not have prestidigitation?
Should I roll perception this time?
Yes.
9.
12.
17.
All right, with a 12 and a 17, the clock tower has stopped that chiming. And you see it just huffing and puffing, and it starts to make its way towards administration.
I wonder if on the hour is our time to move. It seemed distracted by the toll.
Does it look like it's headed back into the administrative building?
Velphie wouldn't have seen it.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. Sorry.
You know you're good.
Velphie, it looks like it's walking back to administration. I'm sorry.
Ow.
With it being pointed out, you would start to see it heading back towards the administrative building. And there's this giant hole where it ripped out the door from the last time two of you saw this place. It broke down the door. Some of the walls that the door was connected to just completely knocked it off of the foundation. So it just walks in like it's a little cave.
So it goes back inside where it came out of. It's almost like it has some memory of this place, because we ran far from it, and it kept pace with us for a while, but it came back.
Came back.
And even now it's going back to where on campus it originally came from.
Perhaps that the reason that this elf guy was there is still ingrained in its mind. It still feels a need to protect something that's in there, or it's just a comfy, cozy place for it to sleep.
We could wait and see if it comes back out at 8. But even if that is our time to move, that's not a big window.
Well, if we can make it to the transmutation building, I think that's our closest one. Or I guess I don't know where we are in relation to the map. Like if we're on the left or the right, or like right in the middle.
Y'all are on the left side off of that map, as y'all haven't gone completely into Esarora yet.
So the transmutation would be the closest full building. No, we could try to get to the transmutation building as quietly as possible while it's distracted. For now.
Yeah. What about so are we in the southwest of the map then? Transportation is closer than Practice Hall?
Yes, you are technically in the southwest, but it kind of depends on which way you go as to which is closest. You're kind of like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it.
Kind of split the two, more or less.
Yeah, you're kind of split between the two. So you could go to the transmutation building, you could go to the practice hall.
I think either one, but I think transmutation would likely have more supplies, which we can still gather while we're here.
It's true. So do we want to try to wait an hour and see if it comes out, or do we just risk going now?
I like a little risk. We'll still be able to see what its habits are from the transmutation building. Is that correct?
I think so. With
Yeah.
conjuration building and shambles, I think we have a better view. Because the administrative building was like, what, 7 floors? Or something?
It is the biggest building on campus besides the conjuration building, as Esarora was a conjuration school of magic.
I'm also not averse to a little risk. I suppose we can keep our mounts up here, though? Or should we try to leave them? Unless you think we need their byproducts for our plan.
I mean, I think if I think we can avoid the shitty plan if we can just make it to the transmutation building quietly. I don't know if leaving our mounts here would be safe for them.
That's fair. That's very fair. Well, I'm sure they know how to be quiet. They listen to us. Beatrice can be silent as a demon's whisper.
Give Beatrice a very curious glance.
She's kind of giving one back, like,
Well, it's already made it to administration, so perhaps we can make a game out of it. Make it there before it leaves.
Let's go.
Alrighty, and as you all are making your way to the administrative building, go ahead and roll me a stealth check, please.
Or are we going to transmutation?
Transmutation.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna use a luck point.
Okay.
That's what they're there for. You use them. Natural 20 plus
Oh my
2.
God. Okay.
22.
Dirty 20.
12.
Okay. So as you all are making your way to the transmutation building, you hear scuffling from the administrative building, like large paws kind of like stretching and then standing up to watch. And you all see it come out of the administrative building for just a moment, but it looks to where you were originally as you all pass this check by one, and it continues just staring at where you all were as you all make your way to the transmutation building with your mounts. Are you going in? Or what are you doing? As it is piqued its interest, something's out here.
Can we get the mounts inside?
I will say the door is big enough to get your mounts in, as there are some students who are very large, so the doorways are big enough to get your mounts in.
I feel like we would
Yeah.
hurry them in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And shut the door.
All right, y'all are able to scuttle into the transmutation building. And the transmutation building is set up very similar to the other buildings as well. But as you all walk in, there are banners that talk about do not transmute other students' belongings, things of that nature. Very similar to the divination building where you saw banners that say do not use divination magic for your test. This one says do not use divination magic, or not divination, transmutation magic on other students. Only use this in class and do not try to make something that isn't quite what it is and try to sell it to someone else. And you all do see some flames that are magically dancing in the fireplace that have been magically put there. And this building is made of tarnished white stone with blue and gold marble inlay. And you all see the walls have been adorned with books of history. You all see the entrance desk. Very same setup as the other buildings. Except this one is more so for transmutation magic. What are you doing as you get inside and you get your horses in?
I think Velphie would like immediately look around to see if there was some sort of immediate threat, since there were some creatures hiding in some of the other buildings.
Roll me a perception, and anybody who wants to do so can too.
Yes, please.
I think
14?
I'll just look to see outside if the beast still looks pretty contained.
All right, roll me a perception check as well.
And 19.
14.
14, okay. With a 19, Ruby looking out and watching it, you can see that red fur, that long snout, those mangy patches of it is still staring in the direction that you all had come from. And it's just, you can tell it's like zoned in, eagle-eyed on that, like on that spot. It doesn't seem to have noticed that you all went this way, so it is still contained. It's just sitting outside of its little den that it has created, as it just watches with very precise eye movements. Like it's just waiting for one of you to peek up. And with a 14 and a 5. With a 5, you don't see anything. You're kind of nervous. Feel like your heart's racing a little bit. You see the wall of like books and things like that, but you don't see anything of harm here. And with that 14, You don't see or hear anything scuttling about in this building. It's quiet, and it's almost like everything has been pulled out. Every being has been pulled out. As there are no bodies, there are no monstrosities, and there is no hope here.
The doll, right?
Yes. Oh my god. Okay. Well, it sounds quiet. Really quiet.
Out of books.
Looks like it didn't see us. Stealthier than I anticipated. I wonder why it wants you to. Seems very adamant.
Maybe he's mad that we made him transform into that thing.
He did yell at us when we first walked into the administration building. And I don't recall exactly what he said, but it came from a place of anger.
So you spoke to this being husk monster.
Yeah.
The ear part.
Kind of. I think he yelled, "Hope you weren't supposed to let anyone in," or something like that, and then it just big monster.
Well, we are in the, what was it, School of Transmutation? Is that what you think you would define that as?
I don't know. It almost feels kind of like some kind of curse, maybe?
Would I be able to surmise what might be affecting something like that? Being a wizard, I would know transmutation magic. I wouldn't necessarily know curses, though.
Roll me Arcana.
What a night. 13.
With a 13, if this is magical, you don't understand it.
I say that out loud, word for word.
Okay. Were we able to tell that this elf was concentrating on something, and then once it broke concentration, that's when it flipped?
I believe
Were
you
we-
rolled for that a few sessions ago, and you were
Okay.
able to come to that conclusion because he was quiet, and then it looked like his attention was brought away from something, and then that infection, that the black ichor just started spreading really quickly.
Okay, so Velphie will relay that memory to Ruby to describe what happened when we first went inside the administrative building.
So it could have happened to anyone. You were just the ones who were unfortunate enough to be around to either cause it to happen or just as the witness.
Yeah, I thought maybe that it would have happened regardless of if we had gone in or not, but seeing that it was concentrated on something makes me think that it was trying to prevent itself from transforming. And it took a lot of magic, a lot of effort, and we distracted it, and it couldn't do both.
But I don't know if there's any putting that back in the package it came in.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I don't know if you could regain concentration after something like that.
I think what's done is done.
So maybe we just be very quiet, see what we can find. It could be any of these buildings that leads below the school. Maybe it's more than one.
Maybe it's this one.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Yes, it'll be this one. And then Velphie will start looking around for any trapdoors or
Yeah, I'll help.
I might as well too. I'll help.
Alrighty, if you all will, roll me an investigation check.
18.
Oh. 11.
23.
All right. With an 11, as you are investigating this area, you don't find too much. There's a lot of classrooms. There are no stairs going down. There is a set of stairs that go up, and there is only one set of stairs that continuously just goes up. This is a 3-story building, but mainly this is just like a bunch of empty classrooms. But roll me with that. Let me just pull this up real fast. Roll me a d20.
Who?
A 2. You find some rope, 25 feet,
Like-
and
Or 25 feet of rope.
yeah, is that what I said?
The pause made it seem like it might be a
Oh,
separate
like it
thing.
was
rope
25.
and then 25
Friedrich's like, what'd you find over there?
25 feet of rope. And you also find a gilded flower with your 11.
Okay.
And with an 18, you're searching this area and you find the empty rooms and everything. But you do manage to find a spell scroll. Roll me a d20, please.
16.
All right, with a 16, roll me. Roll me a d10.
4.
Okay, with a 4, you find a giant insect spell. And this says you can transform up to 10 centipedes, 3 spiders, 5 wasps, and 1 scorpion within range into giant versions of their natural forms for the duration. It's a level 4 transmutation spell.
That's pretty cool.
Alrighty. And that is all you're able to find as you are scouring through the transmutation building. You do not find a set of stairs downwards. You do find that similar staircase that goes up like the other buildings you've been into. But it looks like a lot of the rooms have been emptied other than what you're able to find in that spell scroll. With a 23, you find a component and a spell scroll. Roll me a d20, please.
It's a 20.
Natural?
The 20 is facing up, yes. Okay. But I mean, it's like I don't add anything to it, so I don't know if it counts as the same thing as like a.
All right.
But yeah.
Roll me a d10.
So I didn't mean to sound like a smart ass. I was just saying, like, I didn't know it was like a normal roll, so I just wanted to say what. Anyway, D10. 4.
Alrighty, with a 4, you find a 7th level transmutation scroll of reverse gravity. And again, that is a 7th level that you can actually learn. as you now have the scroll and you find a pearl worth 100 gold pieces.
But just to clarify, I can't learn the 7th level right now.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So if you use it before you can learn it, it's gone.
Yeah, that'd be bad. That would be short-sighted of me. Reverse gravity, okay.
But again, you do not find a staircase leading underground as you all are trying to find an underground entrance. You do only find going upwards, but you also don't find any beasties. You don't hear any noises as you all are investigating. But you get the sense this is just an empty classroom building at this point.
Okay, so this is not the building, but at least we got stuff.
Yeah.
I
I'll take
found
that.
a really nice rope, 25 feet.
Of rope?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. That'll
It,
come in handy.
If I do find magical items, would it be helpful for either of you to use them? I'm pretty limited in terms of magic. I think the last time we fought together, you both used magic pretty well, actually.
Yeah, the professor is a master of magic
I learn
And
every day
anatomy.
and anatomy.
certain parts.
Just
But thank you. It's really all I know how to do, so but
Ah.
I appreciate the compliment. And I guess as far as while we're out here, we have a bit of a policy of, we take some things back, and then some things we find to be more useful for ourselves. But then again, we are serving Limbo's interests, so I guess we're just sort of making a judgment call.
A judgment call on what? Whether or not we have sticky fingers? It doesn't look
Who
like
could
anyone's
put
using this stuff.
on thing? I guess I don't mean not these owners, but if you find something that's really useful and you prefer to hang
Okay.
on to it, hang on to it.
I like the policy.
It has served us well so far. But it goes both ways as well. If I find something that I'm not capable of using, and neither one of you are, I have our group interest in mind.
Of course, the group comes first. We protect each other and make sure that we, help each other out where we can. And if that means giving different spell scrolls and components, and we just kind of share it. Communal.
Ruby's eyes are kind of like darting back between the two of you. As she is slowly nodding her head. I'd like to do an insight check, but she's not trying to hide a sense of like confusion at their willingness to share with her.
Alrighty.
But she also doesn't know if they're being honest.
Oh, so she's not sure if we're honest about sharing the things that we find.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Roll me an insight check, and then for Friedrich and Velphie, roll me deception or persuasion, whichever one you think fits.
I'm rolling like poopy. 9.
21.
I got an 11. But so on Friedrich's side, it's very much like there's little hard ownership here, because if not for the party, I would be dog meat. And so I want to make sure everyone's doing well, and And what am I going to do with a crossbow or a dagger?
Velphie, hers was persuasion. So she's being honest about sharing whatever we find. If something fits someone else better, then she'll give it to that person.
Generosity. It feels different. Thank you both for being willing to share your findings.
Are you not accustomed to that kind of environment?
I'm accustomed to want, take, have. It's not something I was ever really good at. But it is odd to be in a group that is willing to work together openly without lies, because I don't think you're lying to me.
I'm a terrible liar. I think I've tried it.
You think you've tried it? As in, you don't know if you've told a lie?
I actually, honestly, outside of character, I don't know if Friedrich has rolled a deception check the entire campaign. I don't think I've even tried it.
You lied unintentionally once.
Unintentionally, because I was just being dumb. Which is, I guess, what happens. It was to myself, too, wasn't it? The one time I lied was to myself.
That's relatable.
Friedrich's in the mirror like, you're a good wizard. No, you're not. You're terrible. But yes, I don't know, it's served us well so far. Velphie and I have been working together for a long time. And, I don't know, I've just never found anything that's so good it's worth betraying friends over. Or causing, struggles between them.
Yeah. What's the point? We have to work together, so let's work together.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
When you put it that way, yeah, we're just trying to get back to Limbo and enjoy the next bread meal. Or I am, at least.
And we will. Should we check to see if there's been movement?
Suppose we have sort of searched everywhere here. So, good idea. We'll see if it's clear. Where should we head next, though? Or I guess that maybe depends on what we see out there.
All right. And if y'all are looking outside, go ahead and roll me another perception check.
Rolling 2s and 3s.
Oh, no.
5.
5, okay.
22.
I got another natural 20 for 22. I'm sorry, but as soon as we get in combat, I'll start rolling ones.
Okay. All right. And while you all are looking out, Ruby, you don't see anything. You kind of lost it as you think you hear a noise off to your left. So you don't see it as your head turns. With a 22 unnatural, Velphie, you see it and it is still where it was, but it's just scanning. And you get the sense it doesn't really know what else to do. It just scans. It knows it's looking for something, but it's still there in front of administrative building, just scanning. With a natural 20, Professor Friedrich, you see it, it is scanning. It's still kind of focused on the direction that you all were previously. But with a natural 20, as you're scanning, Your environment starts to shift a little bit. As it can still happen here. And then that sweet smell comes up. And with a natural 20 perception, as you bleed into the realm that you know as the Feywild, you actually start to see almost like the swirling of magic in front of you. It starts to get really hot even though you're no longer in Esarora. And the Feywild is not typically extremely hot. It's been cooling off a lot as fall is now becoming in full swing in the month of Astralis. This is uncomfortably hot in the Feywild as you all have shifted there, but it's almost like you're shifting somewhere else at the same time. And you can see the weather beginning to change as the pressure begins to drastically change all around you, from cool to warm to sweltering hot. And that swirling sphere in front of you with a natural 20 that you can see it, it's dark red and hot as a hellfire. As you all are switching, roll me another perception check, please.
Everyone?
Yes.
Dirty little 20.
15.
19.
Alrighty, so you all see this and hear this as you have switched to the Feywild. That sweet scent comes up, and then it's almost like the scent of sulfur as this magical portal appears in front of you. And it's hot and it's hellish. And something bursts out of this swirling void. It's got grayish green skin with barbed little bits on it that seem to act as a natural armor. And it starts screaming in Infernal. Who can speak Infernal? Nope. Okay, so Ruby, you won't understand this, but you do? You do? Okay. All right, so all of you will understand this as it falls out and it is screaming, "Solara, help me!" as it comes out of the portal. Like it does not belong here. I need you all to roll initiative as it screams and rolls out, and then it turns and looks at you all as it is now hostile.
Solana, help me?
Solara.
Solara. Do I know that name?
One of you knows it.
I guess it's not me.
It is not you.
23.
You got
19.
it. 19.
5.
5.
I tried real hard.
You tried so hard. I'm so proud of you. Alrighty, so our order is going to be Velphie, Ruby, this barbed being in front of you speaking Infernal, and then Friedrich. As you all see this greenish gray skinned being in front of you screaming to something for help, to somebody for help, as it is continuing to scream for Solara. What all are you doing? As Velphie, it is your go, and you smell that scent of sulfur as you all have been transformed to the Feywild, and this thing has fallen out of a portal like it has bled over. And also, with you rolled a 15, didn't you? For your perception for that?
Oh.
When y'all rolled perception a few minutes ago? Y'all rolled...
Velphie had a dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Yeah, that's right. I said dirty 20.
Dirty 20. And what was Ruby's?
I think a 15.
A 15. And what was Professor Friedrich's?
22, net
Okay.
20.
Alrighty. So you actually all see this as it falls out of that portal screaming. You catch a glimpse of what is inside it, where it is originally from, as it is now closing, as this thing is screaming at you and glaring at you. You see volcanoes spewing lava, rivers of liquid fire, rocks that are so sharp that they look like they could impale you. You see a land of fire behind it as that portal closes up. And Velphie, it is now your go as this greenish, gray-skinned, barbed thing is just screaming in infernal, and it doesn't belong here.
So in that book of deities, there was no other information on the devils other than their names.
Yes.
Okay. I think Velphie will have a which one though? She's going to have a spell prepared, a psychic one, so I don't think there would be any kind of visual that she has it prepared. But she's going to call out in Infernal. You're looking for Solara.
You're not one of us. How do you know?
I read it in a book.
Weakling, mortal, books.
I have a question.
And I'm not here for discussion.
So there's no talking you out of fighting us? This is what you want to do? You want to fight 3 people against 1?
Pathetic little beings.
Wasn't really an answer.
Roll me persuasion.
Oh, where is it? Okay. Oh, no, I'm going to use my last luck point. Oh, my goodness. Okay, wait. Okay. I rolled the same number twice. Okay. 9.
Okay. It just stares as it hesitates.
There's no need to fight. We, like yourself, are in this place that we do not know of very well. So perhaps we can help find your way back.
Pathetic.
I mean, you're the one that fell through a portal.
Is this how you wish to spend your action?
Yeah.
Alrighty. With that, Ruby, you're up.
Hearing, and she does understand Infernal, so I think just after hearing it turn down Velphie a few times on that final, like, pathetic, she's just gonna line up a shot to shoot an arrow.
Go for it.
Okay, so that is a 27.
That hits.
Oh, right. So, is Velphie within 5 feet of it? I'll take a look at the map. Is anyone within 5 feet?
No, you are about 10 feet off of it.
Got it. Okay, so I don't think this will be a sneak attack. So, it is a 12 points to hit. Or 12 points of damage.
Alrighty. Is your bow magical?
I have a +2 crossbow.
So yes, it is going to be magical then. So 12 points. Perfect. As you
Yes.
pierce
And-
it, and it sticks in its scaly gray barbed skin, and it just lets out this wail and then turns its head to you.
I have one more attack, so another arrow.
Go for it. All right.
Okay, that is a 24 to hit.
24 hits.
Okay, and this attack comes from her Dread Ambusher. So I do an extra d8 on that.
Nice.
So that is another 12 points of damage.
You got it, as it just takes that 24 points as 2 arrows are now stuck into it, and it just squeals. Is there anything else I do on your turn?
I am going to actually back up a few feet. So I'll take a few steps. Oh, can't move my... Oh, that's Velphie. Step back just a little bit.
You got it.
Get some range here.
And as you get that range, it is now angry as it has those 2 arrows in it, and it is now its go, and it is going to rush up to Velphie. As Velphie tried to talk to it first, and it sees that you are closest, it is going to use 3 melee attacks, 1 with its tail, 2 with its claws. And that first one is going to be... all right, natural 20. So that is... Silvery barbs? Is that what you said? All right, silvery barbs. You got it. So we're silvery barbsing it, and that is going to be a 12 to hit as it now misses. But it's got its other 2 attacks it is going to take with its claws. First one's going to be a 22, and the next one is going to be... That next one's definitely not going to hit, but not a natural 1. So that first claw is going to hit. Is there anything you wanted to do as a reaction?
I have a feeling it's gonna have a resistance to fire, but I guess I'll go ahead and try to the hellish rebuke.
Hellish rebuke. All right. So with that claw, that is going to be... Don't worry, it's not that much. 4 points of piercing damage as its claw hits you, and you use your hellish rebuke. It rolled for its dex save, a 17.
It beats it.
Alrighty. And how much damage do you do with your hellish rebuke as you rebuke it?
I'm rebuking 3d10. Yes. Ooh, 10, 11, 16 points of fire damage.
And as that fire comes up, you just saw where this being is from. That fire engulfs it, and it just sticks its face out and just gives you this gnarly, sharp-toothed grin.
Fire doesn't hurt me, little one.
And that is going to be its turn. With that, Friedrich, you're up.
So the fire did nothing to it?
Nothing. It is immune to it.
Ooh. Okay. Friedrich, it's not going to bicker with this thing because apparently it's not working. And I'm just going to... Oh, it's really close to me, though.
It is.
I guess... Well, this is not technically a ranged spell attack, so I'll just put my little book up, flip a finger out, and cast Mind Sliver on it, which is an intelligence saving throw.
Four.
That's a failure. It takes 2d6 of psychic damage, which will be 3 points.
It takes those 3 points as it shakes its head.
And on its next turn, well, actually, before the end of my next turn, it has to subtract a d4 from the next saving throw it has to make.
Okay.
As my bonus action, I will use Misty Step, if I may. And step away 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 feet to there.
Okay, you got it. As you misty step away, is there anything else I do on your turn?
No thanks.
Velphie, you're up.
All right, an infernal shall say, well, I guess you'll just have to die then. And she's going to cast Dissonant Whispers Oh wait, hold on. Can I bonus action first? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to hex.
Hex it. What are you trying to hex here?
Wisdom.
It's wisdom, so its wisdomness is now at a disadvantage.
Ay, perfect. Now she's gonna cast Dissonant Whispers.
Go for it.
A wisdom save.
Take a D4, yeah.
It failed with
Oh.
disadvantage.
Hey, okay, cool. So it's gonna take 3. "13 points of psychic damage with an additional 2 necrotic damage.
And you said this is Dissonant Whispers?
Yes.
Alrighty, you can use your reaction to opportunity attack it as it has to use this reaction to get away.
Yes.
All right, and it ran as far away as it can from you. Go ahead and roll me a opportunity attack.
Okie dokie. Oh no. That is going to be a 10.
A 10 does not hit, unfortunately, as it runs away. But also, it did do damage to you. I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw from earlier.
Okay. Okay, that's a 4.
Alrighty. As it has now hurt you, you hear her screaming in the back of your mind, I want it! And it wants that one. You got to go for that one. And with that, is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
That is it.
Alrighty. Ruby, you're up with the devil on deck.
Yeah, Ruby, standing where she is, just kind of takes a second to track the creature as it goes away from Velphie, steadies her shot with her bonus action, and she'll fire one more crossbow.
Go for it.
Right, so that gives her advantage. That's a natural 20.
Hey! So go ahead. With it being at advantage, you get your sneak attack, you get all that other stuff. Go ahead and take your max of that and then roll.
All right, so that's 8 plus 24, so that's 32. Plus stuff. Ooh, okay. 6, 5 plus something plus 4. All right, that's 60 points of damage.
Ooh, 60 points in total, including the 32 from earlier?
Yes.
Nice. Alrighty. You do that 60 point of damage and it screams that it is bleeding profusely now. And it does not feel good. And you still have your whole turn, right? Your action? Because that was just a bonus action?
That was the bonus action to steady it and the action to shoot. And as it screams, she just kind of like lifts her fingers up to her head, like trying to just keep the noise to a minimum. And she'll move a little bit further away from the creature. Go back to the map. I'll move just 2, 3, 4 to get a little bit behind Velphie.
You got it.
Okay.
And is
All
there
good.
All good? All right. It's now the devil's turn and it's going to use its hurl flame attack as it is screaming and trying to get away. Here's the dissonant whispers. It just took a really heavy shot to itself with a natural 20, and it is just hurting real bad. So it's going to take one shot at Ruby and one shot at Velphie with a hurl flame. For Ruby, that is going to be a 19 to hit.
That hits.
Alrighty, and then for Velphie, that is going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 to hit, so I don't think it hits Velphie, right?
No.
Alrighty, and then 3d6s of... So 5, 11, 12 points of fire damage to Ruby.
Okay.
As it takes a fireball, quite literally looks like it plucks one out of thin air and tosses it. And it's going to start running. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It doesn't know where it's going, but it's trying to run. Friedrich, you're up.
Okay, it's still within range. 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah. I'm going to cast Toll the Dead on it, which is a 16 wisdom save.
All right, and it has disadvantage on those thanks to Hex. And with a natural 1, it fails.
Cool. It has taken damage, right?
It has.
Yep, so it takes 2d12 of necrotic, which is going to roll out 2. That one's cocked. I wish it wasn't because it was high. Same thing. 14 points of necrotic damage.
Okay, it is barely hanging on as you do that damage to it, and it screams as something doesn't feel right, and you just hear it screaming in Infernal, begging for Solaris to help it. And with that, is there anything else you'd like to do?
That's my turn.
Alrighty, with that, Velphie, you're up.
In Infernal, she's gonna say, I tried. I offered not to fight. And she's going to cast a Starry Wisp spell. So a little ball of glowing magic will form in her hand. And 16 to hit.
16 hits.
Okay. So that's going to be 10 points of radiant damage.
How do you want to do this?
Okay. So with a kind of like, I guess like a pitying look, she just kind of sends out that Starry Wisp, and it just like, it enters into its body and then it just implodes from the inside.
As you see this devil, as guts and gore just kind of fly out as it imploded on itself. And it is gone. Nothing is left of it besides its guts. And you all are out of combat. As you all saw, hell for just a moment.
Well, I thought we had already been to all the bad ones. That one looked worse.
Yes, and I dare say it will not be the last time we go there.
Okay.
The creature was crying out to someone? Yes, I heard, and Velphie, you spoke to it. Was it a topic that you knew?
Well, as I said, I read in a book about devils. There actually wasn't too much information on them other than their names. Solara was one of them.
A devil. So the portal was from hell.
The Hells.
Huh. Interesting.
And you have plans to return there, or go there, rather. Hopefully not return. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I guess, yeah, well, we haven't actually been there, but yes, I do plan to go there at some point.
For fun?
Sorta.
Business.
You don't have enough going on?
Business or pleasure?
Business.
Very interesting.
Yes.
There's so much I don't know about you two. Anatomy professor, tiefling with a... Is he your boyfriend? Andir? A
Yes.
felon boyfriend who wants to go to hell for business. Colorful lot.
What can I say? We're very interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are we still in this weird? Are we still in the Feywild?
As soon as it starts to implode on itself, shortly after you do get that film dissolve back into the same building you all were in.
I don't know why. I just assumed it couldn't happen here, but I wasn't basing that on anything.
Yeah. First time it's happened inside a building. Which
True.
I guess we shouldn't be shocked that it can happen anytime, any place.
Did we do anything to trigger it? We're just looking outside.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I think we're kind of fortunate it happened while we were in here. And not running from that thing, or unless that thing would go too. What if we could trap it there? But that would also be terrible for people that live in the Feywild. I'm thinking out loud.
I don't have a way to trap it anywhere. So
Me neither. What do we think the next building should be? We're checking them off.
well, we have the dorms to the right. We have the enchantment building in front of us.
How are
We
the
do.
dorms looking?
Roll me a perception check.
13.
With a 13, the dorms look pretty bad. They don't... With a 13, you don't get the sense that there's much that you could get out of the dorms, because the students don't even go there anymore. And it just looks like it's been ran down.
The dorms are a little worse for wear, but I suppose rubble could provide some sort of cover. It is in the direction of the temple if that's what we're planning on doing, but I don't mind taking the long way around if it's optimal.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah, I'd be okay with the dorms. I get the sense it's in the administrative building, but I don't want to rule anything out. Or it could be the temple. They gather there every night. I think I just don't want to have to go in there.
Into the temple?
Or the administrative building. Either one. But I don't think there's any avoiding it. To the dorms? Some of the dorms?
I mean, it does get us closer to the temple, so...
If we can drop in for dinner.
Yeah. As long as we don't become dinner.
Yeah, Ruby, they told us they eat meat in there. And they didn't elaborate.
Is that cause for suspicion? I also eat meat on occasion.
I do too, but I typically give it some sort of culinary title as opposed to just meat. It just seems so crass. Like, poultry or a fillet of something. Meat just seems so base. I don't know. It was disturbing the way Hope said it, but it could be harmless meat.
It could
Good to know.
be. Yes, it could be harmless meat. All right. Well, I guess will we leave the mounts here and make our way to the dorms?
I do feel like trying to sneak around with the mounts puts us all at more danger, but I also am wary of this scent concept now because they have their own scents and we ran from it using those. I don't suppose I have a way of protecting them, but let me see what I can do. No.
I have been, I've learned lessons that you don't grow attached to mounts. I am fine to leave this nameless horse. But I thought Beatrice was a friend, so if she needs to come along, that is a risk I would support.
Yeah, maybe just in case.
So we take the mounts to the dorms. That way, if we do get spotted, we can just hop on our mounts and run. It's a win-win.
True. It's settled then. We shall mount up to the dorms.
Okay.
And if you all are heading to the dorms, go ahead and roll me a stealth check again.
Do I get advantage because Beatrice is a sly devil?
No.
Darn.
Natural 20 plus 4.
12.
17.
Alrighty, as you all are making your way to the dorms, you see its face perk up in your direction. And it starts to stand up like it has been. It rolled a natural 20 as it stands up. And it looks in your direction and watches as you all start to scuttle towards the dorm rooms. And as that is happening, as it stands up, roll me a perception check as well.
Eight.
5.
10.
With those rolls, it's standing up and it is starting to get ready to start charging at the section of the campus you all are in currently. You all see, well, you don't see, but you feel magic over you pretty immediately. And there's a soft glow, and you start hearing screaming from the temple. As you are covered in this soft glow, and you all hear a mechanical voice of Hope from the temple door. Hurry over here! As she is screaming that over and over and over again, as that thing is starting to charge your way, what are you doing?
I think Velphie would just look at everyone and say, to the temple.
I'm on Beatrice, so I'm just gonna tap her neck and cast Fly on her.
And Beatrice starts flying. Where are you wanting her to fly?
To the temple.
All right. Are we all heading towards the temple on our mounts?
Yup.
All right. You all start booking it towards the temple. And this thing, you hear those thunderous footsteps making their way to you as it screeches behind you, and you know it knows exactly where you are as it starts running towards you, and it actually plummets into the conjuration building as it's making its way towards the dorm rooms that you are almost there, and you all start running. I need us to do some rollies here. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me, please.
Just straight roll.
Mm-hmm.
$11.
It's not
16.
good.
16.
3?
Alrighty, you with those numbers, it does start catching up to you pretty quickly, and you can almost feel its breath right behind your mounts as it is started to dash in your direction. Roll me another d20, please.
Can we do anything else?
What would you like to do?
Can I don't think there's a limit to this. Can I try to telekinetically shove it?
Go for it.
It's a strength save of 16.
It rolled a 2.
Says I push it back 5 feet. So I'd be turning around and I'll just sort of like force push it back.
All right, as you do that and you force push it back and it failed, it kind of stumbles over its own feet as it did not realize that it was going to be shoved backwards while it's trying to go forwards. And you do hear that as it rolls into something and it hits another building close to where the dorms are. As you all are running away, I need y'all all to roll another d20 for me.
Okay. Again?
Yeah,
Or-
roll another d20.
Okay.
10.
Natural 20.
19.
Alrighty, with those rolls, it stumbles over its own feet and can't quite get itself back up as it's trying to pick itself back up. But you know how like when animals have those really long legs and sometimes it just takes it underneath them and they can't quite get back up, it starts stumbling as you all book it towards the temple, and you all are able to make it inside those doors as Hope has them open, and then they slam shut as soon as all of you and your mounts get in.
That was close.
Hope. Thank you.
And Ruby, this is your first time seeing her. She is a very tall but very thin and gaunt woman who has a dress of blue and a gold little scarf, and it almost looks like her skin is just like she's too tiny. But she has doll-like joints. She looks like a doll. As she very mechanically looks between the three of you. I told you not to go into the administrative building. And you deliberately went against what I asked. Why?
So, thank you for helping us. And I'm like half looking at Velphie during this. Just like, step on my toe if I screw this up. We did go into the administrative building.
I know.
And it was not solely or intentionally to disobey you. We are looking for something, and we have to be thorough.
So you deliberately chose to be bad students because you could not find what you were looking for. And then she just slowly looks at Ruby. I apologize that you see Esarora as it is now. This is not what it looked like since... And she looks at you two like a teacher that is very disappointed. Because these two went into administrative building when told not to.
Well, I can definitely tell it was once a really great place. Lots of buildings. But at the same time, it kind of sounds like maybe your warning could have offered more clarity. If they had known, they're good people. If they had known what had been in the building, maybe they wouldn't have gone there. It sounds like we can all just keep helping each other out and maybe forget about the past. Don't we all just want to forget about the past?
And as you're saying that, you hear some... in one of the corners.
Can I see anything over there?
Roll me perception check.
9.
With a 9, that still is high enough. This temple is beautiful, even when it's barely holding on by a thread. You notice the pews and smaller altars have been arranged in the center. And you get the sense that Hope has tried her very best to turn this into some kind of shelter for her students, who have all been congregated into one corner of the temple. All of the beasties that belong to Esarora are in this temple room with you. As they look hungry, they look tired, as they just mindlessly sway as they are staring at you. One of them looks larger than the others. Ruby, since you saw it, will you roll me a d6?
It's a 3.
That is a 3. Alrighty. With a 3, you see one of the beasties, this large one with clouded white eyes, is actually going to lunge for you. As you see this long snout, these skin is sagging. It's got fur in certain parts. As it lunges, and it looks like it's about to take a bite out of you. You both see this as well now that you hear something start lunging. It's almost like it's in slow motion. Hope screams for it to stop, throws her arm up, and this thing bites down on it in front of you. And you see its snarling teeth bite into this doll-like metal structure as its teeth can't quite pierce. And she looks at it like this is a normal occurrence. Go sit down. And it just looks like those white eyes just look at her. And then it lets her arm go and it waddles back to where it was sitting.
So they listened to you. That's really interesting. But what... I'm new here. I don't think I did introduce myself. I'm Ruby Mortem. That was not a welcome greeting. Is there a purpose for you keeping these in here with you?
You mean my students?
Are they students?
And with your perception check from earlier, they all have blue and gold robes on, student robes. At one point, all of these were students of Esarora.
What has happened? Have they always been like this? Is this similar to the creature outside? I appreciate you protecting me and not letting it sink its teeth into my arm. I am just very confused.
My students do not harm. They're just students.
Do you see what I see right now?
I see
I
my
s-
students.
I see sagging skin and fur that doesn't seem to quite be in the right place. I saw teeth. I saw hunger. Is that what your students are?
Just because skin doesn't fit in the normal places that people say that it's supposed to, does that make it any less of a student?
Perhaps. Is the one outside your student?
No. He was my boss. The person I take instruction from.
Surely he has some culpability, some blame in what has happened to this lovely campus.
Because you disobeyed rules.
As I'm sure many of the most inquisitive students have before.
It never put us in trouble like this.
I don't think we wished harm to your school. We just came looking for something. And that thing attacked us. And I know you're one for rules, but I think you may also have to agree that typically the punishment for breaking a rule should, there should be some reciprocity to it. If you go into a place you're not supposed to, maybe they remove you from that place, as opposed to destroy the entire campus.
Well, there is nothing that could be done about it now. I protect the life in Esarora. That includes you. Are any of you hurt?
No, I'm good.
Oh, we're okay, I think.
I am not hurt. Do you think that the creature outside is hurt?
He is no longer my responsibility.
Is he not
What?
alive anymore?
He is no longer my responsibility.
Friedrich, Professor, did you have a smarter question to ask?
No, that was my question. It was, is he not still your boss?
I have been ordered to protect the life of Esarora, and when he changes, he is no longer my responsibility.
Would you like us to do something about him?
What do you mean?
In the daylight hours, does he allow your students to roam freely? And you as well?
We have been in here since he went into that.
So no, then.
No. And Ruby, roll me another perception check, please.
Seven.
With a 7, you hear whispers in this room. Fragmented whispers. Can't tell which one's coming from which, but you hear not complete voices. Bits and pieces.
She'll step just closer to Velphie, kind of like rubbing the side of her temple.
Well, the reason why we went to the administrative building has to do with this poem that we found. And I would actually like to know if you've heard of this poem before. And she will say the poem to Hope.
I believe I have read something on it once. And she pulls out a little piece of paper from her dress. And hold on one moment.
Do we get the third piece?
She got the paper. Or it's a fortune cookie wrapper she forgot about.
And the piece of paper that she is holding out in front of her, mechanical voice. Guardians falter, spells weaken from age, and what's locked away may break from its cage. Seek not the dark that whispers your name, lest Esarora fall to hunger untamed.
Is it part of? Do we know if it's part of the longer rhyme?
She seems to think it is.
Interesting. Hmm. Have you heard of any sort of item being in the school? Any sort of strong magic thing?
No.
Okay. So, must be a well-kept secret.
Are you aware of any lower levels below ground anywhere in the school?
I believe that there is one in the administrative building.
See, now you see, hopefully, that we didn't come here just to cause trouble or break rules. Just thought what we were looking for might be in there, and it very well may be.
And that is your duty, I suppose. Mine is to protect them, and now you.
Do you think there's a way we could go to the administrative building without drawing its attention?
I do not believe so. Are you hungry?
I'm okay. For now. Thank you. Did we interrupt dinner?
We had not started yet.
And she will look at you all.
Well, if you do not need me, I'm going to feed the little ones now.
I didn't want to speak for you two. If you want to join, I'm just a little too excited to eat.
I'm good. No, thank you.
Wouldn't want to take away from the nourishment for the students, you know?
She nods, and then she will walk off towards the other side of the temple where they're currently kind of huddled together. And it almost looks like they're in like little cliques. Roll me insight, if you would, please.
Nine.
13.
Also 9.
Okay. So with those rolls, you don't quite pick up on a whole lot. Ruby, you do pick up a little bit more. But it's almost like they have like the slightest semblance of a being that's huddled in a corner for safety. Like there's a bit of a student mentality in there waiting for their teacher as she walks over and she starts taking her hands in these elegant forms, and you all see the only thing she really knows how to make is slabs of meat start popping up on the table as she casts create food and water and creates 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of fresh water in a separate container. and make sure that all of her students are fed and hydrated. And then she will look back over at you.
Are you sure you'd wish not to join us?
What does that meat look like?
It looks... The best way I can describe it, it looks like an amalgamation of all different types.
But like, I guess like, is it like a London broil looking thing, or it's like raw meat just slapped on the counter?
It is raw. As they start picking through it, and you do hear some snarls, and they're not very good with their etiquette, but they do start eating, and they don't come after you.
Like mine a little bit more well done, I say, closely to the party and not where Hope can hear it.
Yeah. A little bit more cooked.
I brought my own. So
Yeah, more meat for them. They look like they enjoy raw, unseasoned meat.
Okay. Well, I guess this is where we're gonna be for the night. Do we... Well, I imagine that beast out there knows that we're in here, so it's probably keeping a watch on the temple now.
Are there any windows on the front of the temple?
There are windows, but they're all covered and boarded.
There's a bell tower though, right?
Not in this building.
Oh, okay. Are we staying here, or are we going to try to see what's going on out there?
Well, I can see where Beast is, or try to anyway, without going out.
I could stay here, or if you all want to continue your search for the tunnels, that whatever you wish to do. It does seem like Hope would be able to take care of the mounts if we wish to leave them here. I have a quick question, though. Are those students? I really couldn't tell, and I didn't want to be too pushy and become offensive to someone that was giving us shelter. They do not look like they're in their natural states. Is that how you're reading the room?
Yeah, I believe they
Yeah.
were students before.
I believe Hope thinks they're students. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't know. That was it. I don't have anything else.
That's all I had to. I think Hope thinks they're students. And we sort of played along because, it just didn't seem like a delusion we needed to shatter at the time.
I can't tell if they're changed, and maybe they can change back. When I change, that's not what it looks like. But I hear a lot of voices in here. A lot of whispers. And I don't know if it belongs to who they once were. They're not whole. Little bitty pieces shattered everywhere.
When you start to hear voices, what does that tell you about your environment? What does that mean?
Someone's passed over.
Did you hear them outside of here?
It wasn't loud. It was just as loud as normal. But it's a lot in the temple.
Well, I would imagine it's coming from the students that are technically dead, I think.
It's very sad.
Yes. And they've been like this for a little while, it seems. I don't know what could be done to change their situation.
I think it's just as futile as trying to stuff the beast back into the elven man.
Ugh. Speaking of pieces, the little poem, was that important to you?
Oh, yes, I don't know what Ciparis told you, but she gave us the first few lines of this poem asking us to see if we could learn anything else about it the first time we came here. And we managed to find the second piece while we were here. And I believe Hope just gave us the third. And we think that this poem may help us get to whatever lies beneath Esarora that Cipair wants. Or believes could help. We don't know what it is. We just know something's down there.
And now that you have each of the pieces, can you draw any brilliant conclusions of what or where we should find or look for to get there?
Do we know that? Can we tell that the poem is finished?
The poem is finished.
Well, kind of need to think on it, I think. For me, anyway. I don't.
Yeah, reading it, it doesn't... I don't know, I'd have to think on it as well. Nothing jumps out at me. And what we found out about the Guardian was a bit lucky, fortunate. I'm assuming it's the same Guardian that's mentioned in here. The heartbeat.
It kind of, to me, reads as if that elf man was a guardian. Guardians falter, multiple. And the spell that was keeping it from transforming was weakening as time has gone on. And once that guardian faltered, what was locked away came out.
That's very astute. Yeah, I would have to agree. Seems to fit it very closely.
The last two lines, seek not the dark that whispers your name, lest Aurora fall to hunger untamed. So it seems like perhaps someone did seek the dark that whispered their name, because I would say that Esarora is in a hunger untamed.
Possibly. Or maybe we'll be tempted at some point.
That's what I'm thinking. As we avoid whatever dark temptation lies within the bowels of Esarora. Professor, do you think that celestial cat, do you think you'd be able to talk to it if we were to ever meet it?
Potentially. If it does speak Celestial. Do you speak Celestial?
I do not.
Oh. I have an odd language study, I admit.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I forgot that you spoke Celestial. I was more so thinking because you speak with Beatrice, perhaps you could speak with a cat. Granted, it is a celestial cat, but an animal just the same. No?
No, it's worth a shot. I'm not inclined to just attack it immediately. As soon as we find it, I would love to just say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could avail ourselves of whatever you're guarding? It just nods in approval.
Can you say that in Celestial right now, Professor?
Yes, and I will say that in Celestial right now.
Oh, it's the language that sounds like tinkling little bells. I know that one too.
I don't remember where or why I picked it up. I think I was trying to branch out a bit. Something that's not spoken very frequently.
Quick question: do you truly not remember how you learned that?
Oh no, I do remember how I learned it. Never mind. That might be my second lie in the campaign. And I wouldn't correct myself, actually.
And the Celestial cat. Is it special? Well, what is the Celestial cat?
So imagine we look at each other like that in real life. The Celestial cat is some sort of guardian somewhere under this school that we divined by speaking with a goddess. So make of that what you will. But we think it's somewhere beneath Esarora, and it looks like it's made out of stars, which is why we assume celestial. And it looks like a cat. So maybe once we find it, I really don't know what to expect. I mean, obviously it's guarding something, and something that, otherworldly guarding it. It must be something very special. But we don't know.
This is very different than the stuff I've done for Seapair in the past. You all have to think and divine and plan. It's exciting.
It actually kind of is.
Good to have a plan.
Always good to have a plan. Well, speaking of plan, what is the plan? Do we stay here for the night? Do we try to move on?
What if we tried to get a look outside and see if it looked clear to go somewhere else. And if it
Well-
doesn't, we stay put.
I can use my mirror.
How does that work?
I just need to sit down with it and focus. And I can see what it's doing, hopefully. I feel like I know it pretty well. I was inside its mouth.
What?
Yeah, when we fought it, it bit me on my shoulder. And she'll just like show the little scar where the tooth went in.
Ooh. And the mirror that you have to be in something's mouth in order to use the...
No, I just have to be familiar with, well, the more familiar I am with whoever I'm trying to see, whatever I'm trying to see, the easier it is for me to see them. So, with my very intimate relationship with this beast, perhaps it'll be easy for me to see where it's at.
I like this idea. I also think I've been using the word intimate in the wrong way.
There are many different meanings to intimate. You know, there's like friendship, platonic intimate, you know, where you are very close with another person without there being any romantic feelings. And then there is the romantic intimate, which is a bit more physical.
And then the monster bite intimate.
Yeah, that's just, you know, getting up close and personal against my will. Although I guess maybe intimate wasn't the right word. But
Intimate
Close
can mean
personal,
close
it's-
in proximity. Yeah.
Yeah.
true. Yes, you're right. So, intimate. Okay, and then she's going to take out her mirror and just kind of focus on the beast and seeing where it's at.
Okay.
So that is a wisdom save of 17. And how... So firsthand, I know it. You wouldn't give me extensive, would you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
She was in its mouth.
I was in its mouth.
Yeah, you pretty much know of it. So what is the non-intimate besides being in its mouth intimate?
So there's second hand, which is a +5 to them. First hand, +0. And extensive -5 to them.
Okay, so I'm going to say you've had a first-hand experience with this thing, but it did roll a 20.
Okay. So that means it failed, I think.
It failed?
Or sorry, that my scrying
Oh,
failed.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the scrying did fail.
Yeah. Because I don't think they're... Yeah, isn't affected, and I can't use the spell again for 24 hours, so... Yes, well... So she'll sit there, and she closes her eyes, and she holds this mirror, and she focuses, and she's trying really hard, but she can't quite get a handle on where this beast is. It's very strong. And she just sighs, turns around. I couldn't see anything.
It did seem like you were trying really hard. Maybe it just doesn't want to be seen.
That makes sense. Well, we could open the door.
Um, is Hope still
Right.
around?
Hope is over there with the students, just making sure they're fed.
Maybe there's a top floor or higher floors or something. We could open the door, but I don't know. What if it's right outside?
And you've both already been in this building to look underneath for areas that could go below?
No, this is actually our first time in the temple.
Let's check it out. See if we can go up or down or get any sort of peek outside.
It's
Okay.
a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, with that, roll me investigation checks, as y'all have not really checked out this building at all since y'all walked in.
22.
30-20.
23.
23. Nice rolls. All right. So with all of those rolls, you all are able to see that this temple, again, has been set up kind of like a shelter, but there are candles all around the walls to kind of light this place up. It's dim enough not to shine through the windows as well, but bright enough to provide light for everybody who is in here. And you see that this temple has been sectioned off into different religious quarters and to religious sects. And you all see little statues, or I shouldn't call them little, but they're pretty decently sized. You see statues of Drasana, of Agma, Skalith, Thalmaris, Sarkal, Serail, Lysera, Vorthus, Glacier, Solithar, Falarin, Viridanian, Lumendral, and Lunaris.
Are they all labeled?
They are all labeled. And there's a very small one towards the corner with a little bit of a smaller statue than the rest for necrosics. And as you all continue your investigation, you do find a set of stairs that go up the stairs to a small little platform. But for the most part, this building is just the temple with very vaulted ceilings. But you don't find a way downstairs.
I didn't know there were so many deities. I've only heard of a few of these.
Yeah, there's quite a few. But again, Erebus and Orleander aren't in here.
And only a teeny necrosix.
I wonder, are all the other ones the same size?
All the other ones are the same size. But you get the sense that no one really worships the god of death here.
I understand it could be odd for a school, but death is a part of life.
This may be a long shot, but can I investigate the necrosic section? Like, see if I can move the statue or if there's like any thing
Roll me a
odd.
perception check or an investigation check. I'll let you choose on that.
I'm gonna do investigation. 22.
With a 22, you do not see a button of any sort, and you're pretty positive that this is not like a secret entrance to anything. But you do find a small ribbon tied around one of the ankles of necrosix.
And it is of a sunshine yellow color.
Can I see if there is a ribbon tied around Drasana's statue?
With that 22, there is not a ribbon tied around Drasana. However, with your knowledge, Drasana is always depicted to be sunshine yellow.
We don't know the vision with Necrosix and Drasana, right? We don't know that.
You do not, but Beltov does.
Right. Okay. She'll... Do I untie the ribbon? Oh, God. What if that's bad luck? Well, okay. So she's going to call Ruby and the professor over and just kind of point to the ribbon. I don't know why this is here, but I do know that the goddess of life is often depicted in sunshine yellow, which is the color of this ribbon, which happens to be tied around the ankle of the god of death.
It's curious.
Yeah. Are there any other, beyond ribbons, any other offerings or anything left in front of these statues?
Roll me a perception check.
Yeah, I got a natural 20 for 22.
With a natural 20 for the third of today, there are no other offerings. And you get the sense this doesn't look like an offering either.
Okay, so this is Friedrich just talking out loud, or thinking out loud. I had thought maybe it was an offering from someone, but it's the only thing here. Doesn't seem like an offering. Who... Is this meant to symbolize a connection?
Well, it's goddess of life and the god of death. I'd say they're connected.
Does it relate to the poem at all, or is it just...
I don't think that it does. It was just very... I was thinking, my initial thought was perhaps, there could be a secret entrance by the place where no one really worships because, who's gonna go there? That's the perfect place to hide a secret door. But then when I was looking, I saw this ribbon, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But I don't think this really has much to do with the poem so much as what's happening in the bigger picture.
Yeah, I don't see a connection. Bindings of gold, but I don't know if that's the same as a ribbon.
Bindings of gold almost makes me think like it's a book.
Thinking shackles. I hadn't thought of a book. That's a good point.
Shackles?
Like, like
Oh,
yeah, sorry, like
the ones that felons wear?
felons and other ne'er-do-wells, and even those who just run into the wrong crowd and are meant to be restrained. I'm not a felon myself. You'll have to ask Aunt Terry. He seems to know a lot about it.
Well, I could ask him to wear some shackles. Fine.
Can I insight that?
Go ahead and Velphie, roll whatever you think is appropriate.
I'm trying. I don't think Friedrich has any concept of wearing shackles outside of imprisonment. So I'm like, is she looking to kidnap this person? 9.
24.
So I think you're probably trying to kidnap him. But I'm like, oh, it's odd.
I'm trying to kidnap my own boyfriend.
Maybe if you're looking to escape, you could put him in shackles and it would look like you were doing the business of Limbo, and then he is actually, you're in cahoots. I don't think we're talking about the same thing, but I don't
was
know.
thinking about a different kind of business and some sort of different cahoots, but
What an odd ribbon. Ugh.
Ruffy just giggles. I assume she sees it just going right over his head, right?
You can almost visually see it going over his head. Ugh.
She'll just like a oh sweet summer child tap the professor on his shoulder. Well, I guess there's no downstairs, and you said the upstairs leads to a platform inside the building? Okay.
Yeah, so it's inside the building.
Okay.
Like a loft kind of thing, or? Okay.
And the ribbon, we are going to leave it or untie it?
Well, Professor, you've got an affinity for magic. Is there any sort of magicalness to this ribbon?
Can I check for arcaneness?
Go ahead and check for arcaneness.
That is a 22.
There is nothing magical about that ribbon.
Seems rather mundane. Just a normal ribbon. Someone left it. Someone wanted to symbolize something or show some sort of reverence.
Hope. Do you know anything about this ribbon here?
She looks at it long and hard. No, it's been in here as long as I've been here.
Okay, well, thank you.
Ruby, are you inclined to untie it? You looked like you wanted to do that.
It's hard not to. It's so not supposed to be there. But I'm fine to untie it if that's what you all want, if you want to see what happens. Doesn't seem like anything would happen, but if it did, might as well be me.
By all means.
Sure.
Can't get much worse. And I'll give it a little tug.
And when you give it a little tug, it's old. So it pretty much just falls apart as you pull it off, and you're just holding a sunshine yellow ribbon.
Anticlimactic.
I guess maybe that's a good thing?
Yeah. It's definitely not one for drama. I'll just put it back. Just lay it back down on the statue.
And as you lay it back down, the sunshine yellow just dulls. Like the color just drains.
Huh.
Well, perhaps it was just a mundane symbol of connection, offering.
Perhaps.
But it was bright before.
Oh, and now it's not bright?
It just looks like it as it was pulled and taken out, it just dulled.
My God, what if we just killed Drasana?
You all do know Drasana is weak. Velphie and Friedrich remember hearing that.
How long ago was that?
Oh shit, you're gonna make me do math.
Where
That
did we hear it, I guess?
I think that was in the
That was like session 10.
Grove, right?
When we heard the full story of... Yeah. But I don't think a ribbon's going to... You know... I don't think the well-being of a goddess is hanging by a ribbon, so to speak.
Oh. I just now have the feeling that maybe we shouldn't have done that. But
Or-
what's done is done.
Perhaps it's a warning. Is the other goddess a big deal?
Yeah, she's pretty widely idolized by the druids. Where Golmak comes from, they had an entire altar dedicated to her.
What if... This just got a lot bigger in my head than a simple ribbon. What if they need to be reunited in some way? What if the way the world has been for the past 152 years has sort of thrown off the balance of life and death, and they need to be set right?
Too much death. Not enough life.
Death isn't even final. You could
No,
argue a lot of
it's
these
not.
things. Yeah. I don't exactly know what's going on, but you could argue things aren't really dying as they once did. Right, as I imagine they once did.
There's not a lot of life either.
It's a whole lot of balance. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's and maybe the dulling of that ribbon is symbolic of what happens if you completely separate the two. Decouple them, so to speak.
You almost sound like you should be a professor of religion, but I guess anatomy is probably a close second to the intellect you just shared.
Just thinking out loud. I don't know, maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I never really went into the religious aspect before. I always thought there was some sort of scientific answer to everything. And there probably still is, maybe.
You
Maybe.
were telling Sea Pear, perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah.
Should we tell her we have the last piece?
We could.
Should we give her an update? She did ask us to check in, but also she said to only use it for emergencies, so... Is this an emergency check-in?
I think we should determine whether or not we're going to be heading back out before we use it.
Okay.
Today, at least.
Yeah. Okay. So perhaps we could take one of the boards off the windows and see what we can see outside, or we risk opening the door.
Is the door... How's the door shut? Just normal door? Is it boarded up or anything?
She just slammed it shut. That's all she's got.
And it didn't, like, push on it or anything?
Nope.
You might could just pop the door like you suggested earlier. Just a
Okay.
little look-see.
Oh, I don't mind doing it. If anyone else has got a really big hankering to open the door.
I have poor vision. Comes with age. Bit cloudy. I'll sit this one out.
Well, okay, I'll open it. I'll go open the door.
Alrighty, and as you're going to open the door, Professor Friedrich, your sending stone buzzes from Seapair.
Hello? Well, I don't say that. Sorry. I guess it just starts playing.
It starts. Unless that's what you want to send before you listen to it. And as you pick it up and listen to it, haven't heard a check-in. Sending reinforcements. Should be there soon. Look for Kieran. And while you get that message, you want to send something back?
I was just counting for later.
Do you want to send something back?
Hello?
Not. Well, I say hello in the middle and it cuts off, and that's no. No, not yet. Because I get a little bit of time, don't I?
You do.
Yeah. So I'll wait a minute.
Okay. Is Ruby doing anything while Velphie goes to open the door?
She is going to, if she sees the creature, cast Hunter's Mark on it. So she's going to kind of come up behind Velphie to potentially fire off a spell.
Okay. And as Velphie opens the door, you see a giant eyeball staring right there as you open it, and you see its pupil constrict as you open the door, and the light from inside comes out, that very dim light, as it just stares at you with these greenish, at least one is, this greenish eye as you open that door, and you hear it just that dog-like sniff as you have opened the door and it sees you. What are you doing?
I'm gonna shut it immediately.
Is Ruby casting Hunter's Mark?
Yeah, right whenever she sees that eyeball, it's like her hand immediately just emits like this cloud of smoke that rings its way towards the pupil.
And its eye is just darting around at everything in this room as that smoke makes its way to the eyeball, and you slam that door shut. You hear that screech. And it now knows you're in here, and it starts banging at the door as it rushes into it, and the foundation of this very building starts to shake as it screams, and it starts taking its body weight and slamming into the door.
I think, Velphie, I think it saw us.
Yeah, I would reckon it did. Now it is trying to get us. So do we
Okay.
fight it?
Ooh. It definitely doesn't seem to want to take a break from hunting you both. Didn't seem to want to come after Hope or the students.
Yeah, it's just us, I guess. Well, I mean, he had a taste of me. So come back for more.
How intimate.
And as you both are having that conversation, again, the rocks start to fall as it starts banging on the foundation of this building. And you can hear the creaking of wood and the breaking and crumbling of stone as Hope has now got the students in a corner and has her arms out in front of them, very much like a human shield trying to protect her kids. Professor Friedrich, is there anything you wanted to do?
I'm gonna run up to Ruby and Velphie and say, I just heard from CPR she's sending reinforcements.
Oh, good.
Is it outside?
It's outside. Can you not?
Bit.
Can you not hear?
Well,
See?
I didn't want to assume. Someone named Kieran is coming to help us. I'm not familiar, but hopefully he gets here very quickly. I would like to tell her that we are cornered in the chapel.
All right, you send we're cornered in the chapel.
I'm telling the group that, and I'm like, is anything else you want to add to the message?
We got the third piece of the poem.
True.
I don't really have anything else, I guess. If we're waiting for Kieran, maybe Kieran will show up now.
I don't know who Kieran is. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know when they left. I don't know what they look like. But I'm assuming if someone starts fighting this thing with us, that's Kieran. So I will send back Beast still alive. We are cornered in chapel. We've completed the poem.
And at this time, I need you all to make dexterity saving throws.
What if it's low?
14.
Eight.
25.
Alrighty. Ruby, you're able to get out of the way as the door crumbles in on itself and it has pushed its way in, and you see debris flying in all different directions. Professor Friedrich, Velphie, you both take, not too terribly much, 5 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are knocked prone and stuck under a piece of debris as the door in the front of the chapel has been completely decimated. And this hulking figure that stands 20 feet above your heads snarls in your direction, huffs and puffs, and lets out this screech. And that's where we'll begin next session.
Nice.
Damn. Well, I admit the door may have been a mistake.
Thank you so much for watching Session 34 of the Order of Narvosc. Session 35 will be out on February 21st. Please make sure to check out our players' social media accounts. They are wonderful and they deserve your support. And if you're interested in merch, don't forget to check out the link in the description below. Lastly, if this is the kind of content you enjoy, please press that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell. That way you get notified when Session 35 comes out. As always, be the light that drives out the darkness, adventurer. We'll see you soon.